Today I will share with you how I ruined my gut in 5 easy steps. Welcome back to Big City Mom channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Sylvia and I'm a big city mom. I live, work and raise my family in New York City, and whenever I get some free time, like right now where my son is napping, I blog and vlog about health through diet and nutrition. Years ago, I was diagnosed with autoimmunity, rheumatoid arthritis. It took me many years and many trials and errors, but few months ago, I was able to reverse this nasty condition through diet, lifestyle changes, and nutrition. I was so blown away with the result that it finally pushed me to start this YouTube channel. So if this is you, you should definitely subscribe, and let's create a community of people that are able to reverse chronic disease with diet, lifestyle, and nutrition. That's it, let's begin. I was diagnosed with autoimmunity in my late 20s. As you can imagine, I was quite upset when I heard the verdict, simply because I was already vegetarian, I wasn't eating processed foods, I wasn't drinking soda, I was taking my supplements, so how could I be so sick? Nonetheless, I was, and now I know that there is a genetic component to autoimmunity, but also there is environmental and behavioral aspect to it as well. And probably both environment and your behaviors are even more important than your genetics. And this is actually good news because there is something you can do about it. So I stopped being miserable and rolled up my sleeves and I started searching. And not surprisingly, most of the things that I learned that cause leaky gut are the ones that I was doing for many years on the regular basis. Number 1, I overindulged in grains. Meaning I was consuming lots of gluten. In my early 20s, I became vegetarian, and then I went even further and became vegan. Now, as you may know, once you remove all the animal foods, you will add more grains as the primary source of proteins. And I was quite active, I was working full-time and studying full-time, so my appetite was quite big, and I remember eating tons of pasta and sandwiches all day long, every day. Now we know that 80% of protein content in grains is gluten, and gluten is the major contributor to leaky gut. Alessio Fasano has excellent research about that, and I made a video that just talks about leaky gut, the mechanisms of it. I will link it up here, so please check it out. Now, we know that not everybody is that sensitive to gluten. Most people can eat gluten more than one time a day, every day, and they're do fine. But there is a group of us, me included, that are sensitive to gluten and ended up paying price for it later in life. Number 2, I ate too much of processed foods. I know, even me, who is so health conscious, was eating bad food. And this was happening in my late teens and early 20s when I first moved into New York. So as you can imagine, I was new to the city, money was scarce, and buying cheap food was a good strategy to save money. And as you know, almost all cheap food is also processed food, and all processed foods will have preservatives and emulsifiers in them. And one of those emulsifiers, known as polysorbate 80, can not only cause inflammation, increase your appetite, but also increase your gut permeability. I didn't know it at that time, and chances are, even if I knew it, I wouldn't probably care, because when you're very young, you think nothing ever is gonna touch you. But years later, who knows, maybe those few months of eating cup noodles caused some damage, for which I'm paying now. Number 3, I took way too many painkillers. So sometime halfway through my university, I had an accident where I got hit by a car. It resulted with quite severe head injury. So when I fully recovered, I still had daily massive headaches, and I was managing them by taking painkillers. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs is the proper name. And I was doing it pretty much daily, sometimes more than once a day, for at least 2.5 years. And in fact, I was thinking I was doing the right thing because the doctor wanted to prescribe me some prescription medication. And I said, no, I'll just take the over-the-counter painkillers. I mean, they will not have any side effects. They're over-the-counter. Little did I know. And of course, I found the studies demonstrating that prolonged use of anti-inflammatory medication will contribute to increased permeability of your gut. And like I said, I did it for almost 2.5 years, every day. Number 4, I had too much of alcohol. And this was happening when I actually graduated from the university. So I was working and studying full-time, and for 4.5 years in my early 20s, I literally had no social life. I was either at work or studying or preparing for my midterms or finals. These were the only operating modes I had. So when I finally graduated, I got some time back, and I had actually all the time in the world. That's how it felt when my school went away. And so I was partying. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, I was out there in the meatpacking district catching up. And I was catching up drinking as well. And probably I was drinking some of the worst alcoholic beverages you can have, meaning alcohol plus some juicy concoctions. And of course, there are studies showing that prolonged consumption of ethanol, which is a chemical name for alcohol, increases gut permeability, and significantly too. And that went on for quite some time with me as well. And number 5, I ate too much food that was high in pesticides. Now we are going again back to my younger years when I first moved into New York. Of course, money was a concern, and I couldn't buy anything that was close to organic. And Brooklyn way back when was a lot more affordable, and food was really cheap. And I don't think I knew of a store that was even organic. And anyway, organic wasn't on my radar then anyway. It just wasn't an option financially. But I was going to this one store called Three Guys from Brooklyn. They're not there anymore. And they had really a wide variety of produce. It was cheap as well. And they were located on the very busy street in Brooklyn. So I would get my produce there. And so one, it wasn't organic, and second, there was cars zipping by all the time. And I'm saying this because I also learned that fumes can contribute to gut permeability as well. So I was living there and buying the not organic food for at least 5 years. Now it's really hard to put a finger on how much this contributed to my leaky gut, but my opinion at this time is that it probably played some role, even though it probably wasn't the major one. Even today, mainstream medicine is really reluctant to accept the link between the leaky gut and autoimmunity. Personally, looking at my results and working with paleomedicina, I am convinced that the leaky gut is actually at the center of all autoimmunity. And it's not like I didn't try to treat my rheumatoid arthritis other ways as well. I tried to fix my joints, I tried to improve my immune system. I must have taken every possible remedy, an herb or spice that was anti-inflammatory, and of course had to be natural as well. And nothing really helped. At best, I was able to manage my symptoms. It was only when I started addressing my gut issues when things began to change. And ultimately, I was able to reverse my autoimmunity completely. Now, that said, it's also good to understand how you got there. And the 5 things I listed were most relevant to me. They were an integral part of my life way back when. And I'm sure there are some other items, some other behaviors that can contribute to the leaky gut as well. And if you know of them, let me know in the comments down below. I might be able to add them to my blog. And I will also link all the studies in the description box. And before you go, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!